Today we are going to talk about intention words. This idea was introduced to me back in 2020, maybe 2020, 2019. It was introduced back to me in 2019 because 2020 was the very first word that I ever said. And I don't know where I picked this up from. The people that I was following at the time still do follow. Rachel Hollis, Jamie Kern Lima, Amy Porterfield, Jenna Kutcher, those Marie Forleo, that type of audience, women entrepreneurs. One of those ladies I picked this up from. The idea is that you pick one word that you want to summarize how your year is going to play out. What is one word that could describe what you need out of your life for this upcoming year? This topic of an intention word is the sole reason why I decided to launch my podcast when I did, because I wanted to talk about this topic before the year began. So I decided to launch in December instead of January 1. Because I wanted you guys to be able to have time to think about this idea. If you've never done an intention word before, let me talk to you a little bit more about my experience with it. I was going to dive into every single year that I've ever done and tell you my experience with it, but I think the most two profound ones was my year that was 2021 and this year. So I've done this since 2020. 2020 was my first year doing it. So we're coming up now on, this is going to be my fifth word that I've said. 2020, 21, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 20. Anyways, 2021, Christmas morning of 2020, I painted this beautiful painting. I call her my break free girl, and I'll share that with you guys. It's this beautiful embodiment of this girl that's trapped. There's these vines coming up out of the darkness, and it's wrapping itself around her feet, and it's holding her down and pulling her back. And she's reaching for the brightness, and she can't quite reach it. It was the very first painting, and probably the only painting, that I was truly able to convey what I was feeling in that magnitude. It has been a feeling that's haunted me for years, and I couldn't pinpoint it. I couldn't describe it. I just felt so held back. So that was Christmas morning, Christmas evening, maybe, of 2020 when I painted that. And I decided my word was free. I think I'd connected to that word for a while, but that's when I was like, this is going to be my intention word for next year. So I had no idea how 2021 was going to play out, but I knew that feeling of being trapped and being held back and this darkness in my life, I wanted to break free from it. I wanted to break free from all. I want to break free. I think I'm funny. Sorry. Welcome to Conversations with me. I'm not even going to edit that out. Anyways, I wanted to break free from all of this stuff. I don't think I'm going to be able to talk about my break free girl without singing Queen. God, I don't know why that hit me the way it did and why I think it's so damn funny, but I'm funny. It's fine. Here we go. Regardless, I wanted to break free from all that crap. Whatever was holding me back, whatever was stopping me from becoming the fullest version of myself, I wanted to let go of it. I had no idea what it was, but I knew that my body needed to get rid of that experience. And I figured I'd figure it out along the way. 2021, my husband at the time was deployed. And that was when I said, I am getting a job. I'm no longer going to be a stay-at-home mom trying to run a business with all these small children all around the house. A nanny's non-negotiable, and I'm going to work. So I did. And within a few months of working there, it was made very clear to me that my unhappiness was stemming from my marriage. I would have never, ever, ever, ever guessed. Never would I ever have guessed that free, that intention word, would have manifested in the form of divorce. I would have never guessed it. That story is probably my most powerful experience with an intention word. I've had other intention words that I think have, manifested how they needed to, but that one was the strongest. And then this year was interesting to me because it was the year I took it the most seriously about living intentionally. So 2023, my word is commit. And I set that goal with I wanted to commit to my kids and my home and my job and my any passion projects I may have. And I just wanted to commit to myself, start developing the person. I'm finally free. Who am I meant to be? I want to commit to that person that I see in the mirror, but I'm not living that life. I wanted to commit to it. And every decision that I made this year, I questioned, is this in alignment with where I see my life going, or is it not? And I would make the decision appropriately, because commit is not just saying yes to the things that you want to do. It's also saying no to the things that are not in alignment. I am committing to this path that I'm on, and everything else that comes my way, I'm going to hit it out with a baseball bat. It is not happening. So I said no to a lot of opportunities that I just felt like were not in alignment. I want to say in March, maybe February, I was okay. One of my favorite podcasts ever is Christy Wright. It's called Get Your Hopes Up. And she was talking about how when you have this like strong feeling in your soul from God, that you should just follow it. Like you need to listen to his promptings if you want more blessings in your life. And I think this podcast has been my church this year. I don't go to church. I'm not a very religious person. I'm not a very spiritual person. I connect more towards like universe and vibes and like good feelings. It took me a long time to resonate with God and his power in my life. And this year, I want to say around March or February, I kept getting the prompting that I need to take an entire year with no dating. It was specific to no dating. I needed to take an entire year to just focus on me and my kids. I first got that prompting very subtly, beginning quarter of the year. I ignored it, completely ignored it. In April, I met someone online, which I knew I had no business being online because God told me to sit down and shut up and take a year to focus on me and my kids. But I didn't listen. Because do I ever? I'm just stubborn. It's fine. I didn't listen. And I started dating this guy, and he just wasn't for me. He really wasn't. I don't think he ever really tried to fully get to know me, because when I told him about this, I need to take 1 year, he didn't really pay attention to it. He kind of brushed it off and continued to pursue me. And I was trying to tell him, like, I don't want to be in a relationship. But then I also I wasn't standing as strong as what I knew I needed to be in that 1 year. So I was allowing myself to stray from that path of what I knew where I needed to be going. And I just kind of kept brushing God off, and I kept making choices that wasn't in alignment. But then I was putting myself around people that didn't respect it or trust it. And so it was a combination of me taking full ownership of me making these choices, and then me also not being aware enough to be selective with the people in my life. So I was dating this guy, and I had this really cool experience where um an ex-boyfriend, my very first boyfriend, my very first love, I might have him on the podcast because our story is so crazy. It's like the Notebook. Um, he had been addicted to drugs for a long time, and he came back into my life this July. And he's sobered up. He's living just a few hours away from me. And he was like my very first love. And when I started reconnecting with him, it made my brain go, the relationship that I'm in is nowhere near the level that I deserve, that I want, and that I need. And it wasn't, I mean, I didn't pursue anything with this other guy. It was just that it made me realize that there was more for me out there, and I have to pay attention to what God is telling me to do. So I kept hearing this, just wait 1 year, just wait 1 year, just wait 1 year. But I kept fucking around and I wouldn't listen. Finally, I just said, I need to take my year. I broke up with the guy that I was seeing, and I have not been dating anybody since. And it's been really cool to see how things, when you start to just stay in alignment and you commit to the things that you know are meant for your life, you start to see your life unfolding in all the right ways. It's like, okay, pay attention, because this is how life is going to be for you if you listen and if you have direction and if you focus. So I think God has been testing me along the way just to make sure that I'm really committed to listening to him. So it's been July, August, September, October. It's now October. So it's only been 4 months. Still, though, in these 4 months, let me tell you, I got a new job, which was with a substantial raise, which was awesome for me and my kids. It's a healthy environment, and I've grown so freaking much just in that marketing thing. But the amount of growth that I have seen in myself and in my children just in the last 4 months is insane, because God knew that's what I needed. He knew I would not find this level of soul searching if I was distracted by boys that were not in alignment. Notice how I did not say men, boys that were not in alignment with what I need, what my kids need, what our home needs. So I'm good with not dating anybody right now. And I'm committed to this path. Let me tell you, when I first started this year, I would never have guessed that I was committing to God's word. I did not have that kind of relationship with God. I've not been this connected to what the universe, God, has in store for me ever in my life. I am very in tune. I know that something big is going to happen next year. I have no idea what it is. And I can look at this from a couple of perspectives. Something big is going to happen in a really monumental good way, or in a really monumental detrimental way. Either way, I need to build the foundation now so I'm strong enough for whatever is coming my way. If it's something really great, I've done all of the personal development to put myself in the position to accept whatever's coming my way next year. If it's something terrible, my kids and me, we're all strong to be able to handle what's coming our way. I have no idea what just wait 1 year means. No idea. It could mean 1 year from when I actually finally committed to what God was telling me. It could mean 1 year from the first time I've heard that prompting, February, March. I don't have any idea. I don't have any idea. I am just very in tune with something. Something cool is going to happen next year, and I want to be ready for it. So that's my word for this year, is commit. And I'm very committed to commit. Every intention, everything I've done this year has been in alignment with that word. And it's one that I've been able to see play out as the year goes on. Like every step of the way this year, I've seen that word manifest in my life, where that's the first year that that's ever happened for me. So next year, my intention word is going to be connect. And I picked that word after I committed to this 1 year. I think it was in September. It's usually right around the fall, like the Burr months. We get into September, October, November is when I start brainstorming what my next year's word is going to be. And, anyways, I connected to the word connect when I saw a quote. It said, disconnect to connect. And I need that in my life. You have to be intentional about the way you're connecting. And I want to connect on a deeper relationship with my children. And I want to connect through this podcast. And I want to connect through, I told you guys last week, I'm writing a book. I want to connect to people and their stories, through my words, through my art. And I want to hear about your stories and your art and all the things that you're doing. I want this to be a platform. I also see this as a place, an opportunity for us to build retreats and connect there. Maybe I might, through those experiences, might connect to a man. I have no idea. Maybe not. But my word is connect. And I'm so excited for it. I've even started manifesting that or paying attention to it this year. This year, I volunteered for something that I probably shouldn't have. How do you accidentally volunteer for something? I don't know, but I did. I accidentally volunteered to be a Girl Scout troop leader. And when I got home that night, I was like, I'm not a PTA mom. I don't, nope. I'm a drop my kids off, tell me when to pick them up, and I'll go pick them up. I'm that kind of mom. If people need like signups for things, I'm like, I don't know, I'll send my kids with napkins. Like that's about how involved I get in some of those events. I'm involved in my kids' life in other ways, but usually the PTA Girl Scout thing is not something that I would typically have done. Well, my 7-year-old's troop needed, she's 8 now, they needed a troop leader, and they didn't have one. And I wanted my daughter to be part of Girl Scouts. I wanted this for her, and it was important for me that she had it. So somehow I volunteered for it. Anyways, I got home that night. I think this was back in August, and actually it was September. I got home that night and I was like, okay, is this in alignment? What will this do for me and my family? And my thought immediately was the connection that it will give to me and Lainey and the other girls in this troop, to the people in the community that we're going to help through our community service, through all the things. And I'm like, okay, this is in alignment. It's in alignment. At the beginning of the year, I would not have committed to that. I wouldn't have, because I was very intentional about what I was committing to and what I wasn't. But I committed to it this year because it's in alignment for what my word is for next year. And so that's my approach to New Year's resolutions, if you will. I don't make New Year's resolutions. They actually kind of make me twitch a little because I think, one, they're overrated. Two, I think a resolution is something that you only think about in January and you don't really do much with it after that. An intention word for the year is not a specific goal. You're not setting that word with any one measurable goal in mind. You're setting that word with just, this is an overall word that I would like to see manifested in my life. Okay, I want to run through some ideas on how you can brainstorm this. One, some ways that I brainstorm my intention words is I get on Pinterest and I search intention word, and all sorts of ideas pop up. All sorts of ideas. Another way you can brainstorm intention words is going to thesaurus.com. You can type in, like, okay, so sometimes when I'm picking a connection, an intention word, I feel like there could be deeper meaning words. Like sometimes words are just surface level and I want something deeper than what that word is. And so if you search, I don't know, peace into thesaurus.com, you might come up with all sorts of different synonyms for that word. So that's a way you can look up words, and you just want to find one that connects to your soul. I would also truly consider pondering what you want your life to look like next year. Is there something really heavy weighing on you right now that you want to lift that burden off? Is there something really great happening in your life that you would like to see more of that happen? Whatever it is that you see for yourself, try to find a word that would explain what your life will look like if that word were to come true. Or is it an adjective? Is it a word that describes a thing, right? Is it, mm, we could get into all the grammar crap. Okay. I'm not going to even go there. I was going to, but I wasn't going to. um, it could be a descriptive word. It could be a feeling word, like peace or love or whatever it is you want it to be. Take some time to sit in your soul. Take some time to really think about it. Because if you take it seriously, this right now is my biggest testament to living an intentional life is this one step, choosing an intention word for the year. We are not going to do resolutions. I'm a big goal setter, but I'm intentionally doing the goal setting podcast in June next year because I don't want to talk about it in January when everybody else is, because I won't. I'm really, really excited to see where this goes for you guys, to see how my word connect fits in with your guys' word, or how I might be able to connect with you guys in deeper ways. I'm here for it. I think that this is fun. And by the way, I've only ever met one other person out in the wild that does this before they met me. Everybody else that I know that does this now does it because of my testament of it, or my experiences with it. They've heard me do it. It's like my friends or my sister, or whatever. They'll do it now because they've heard my story. But there's only one person that I've ever met out in the wild. When I tell them this story, they're like, "Hey, I do that too." And ironically enough, her intention word for this year was intention, which I thought was fun. And this was another sign for me that I'm in the right place, because that one person happens to be my leader for Girl Scouts. She's my support system through the whole system, or through all of Girl Scouts. As I'm a new troop leader, she's the one I call. And when we went to coffee one day to just talk about Girl Scouts, we found out that this is something we both do. And I was like, okay, this is another sign that I'm in the right place, because she's the only person I've ever met out in the wild that does what I do. And so I thought that was really cool. Anyways, I would love if you guys would share your intention word. If you're going to do this, I would love if you shared it with me. You can keep it private and send it to me via Instagram DM, whatever. It's at Soulbound Art Studios is my handle for Instagram. I would love if you shared it with me. You can tag me in your posts. However you're doing it, I want to be part of your journey, and I want to be part of your story, or at least just see it happening. You don't have to include me in every way, but I would love to just experience this with you guys, because it's something that I do in my life that has made the biggest difference. The biggest difference. I hope that this gives you some inspiration for next year, gives you a little bit of hope, and will continue to bless your lives if you continue to do it. So anyways, we'll see you next time.